So you spent most of that fall tramping around Europe then before the Battle of the Bulge started?
Well, tramping, going from Holland down to northern France. Yeah, it was all basically walking. Like you say, you rode a couple of times a day.
Then, what were you doing when the Battle of the Bulge began?
We were in camp. We had got a group of replacements in, and hell, they was one of them knew what end of a rifle to aim. They just cleaned out the Repo Depot camps and a lot of Misfits and whatnot, and Ridgway sent them back because they just couldn't train them. You know, hell, they was and of course, see, the 106th Infantry. This is not much in the history books about that, but they called them not the 106. They called them the hungry and the sick. For the most part, they were misfits and offcasts. And if you had a guy that just was a problem all the time, transfer him out. Well, he wound up in the 106th Infantry. What was that Trinity preacher who was around here for a while, lived there on West 8th Street. He was in the 106th. But they had a few guys that had some brains and some, but they was by far the fewer. Most of them were misfits transfers. It was a catch-all.
You were part of that, or you were just
that was
nearby where those?
Well, see, in the Battle of Bulge, they were holding the point. That's where the Germans come through. They knew it was misfits.
Really?
Oh yeah, they knew that.
And how close were you to that?
Oh, we rode on a truck for one day and a little bit into the night to get up to Manhay.
And how cold was that ride?
Oh, it was a day about like yesterday, you know, spitting rain and not terribly cold, but not terribly warm either, you know, just like the fall weather would be as it was trying to go to winter.
Now the Bulge started what, December 16th, is that right?
Yeah, and on the morning of the 17th we got on the trucks and headed. And see, we hadn't had a reissue of equipment because we hadn't got the right replacements in. So some of the guys didn't even have overcoats, didn't have helmets. Some of them didn't have a rifle. It'll be along.
And you were a rifleman in the Battle of the Bulge then?
Yeah. Well, went into Holland carrying a bazooka. Well, after you fired your ammunition, where are you going? You're not a bazooka man anymore. So the radio man got hit, and the company commander says, "Bridge, pick that radio up and let's go." I don't know how to operate it. He said, "I'll operate it, you carry it." Well, of course, here again, a country kid with a lot of muscle and no brains. I picked her up and carried her. Radio men didn't last long.
Yeah? How much did that dude weigh, the radio?
35 pounds with a 24-hour battery.
Plus everything else you had to
carry. Yeah, you had to carry whatever you wanted. See, an airborne unit there's no trucks. We had 6 Jeeps for the battalion that had to do all our transporting.
What's the battalion, 400, 300 guys? 400 guys?
No, there's 200 in a company.
Oh.
That's oversupplied, but 180 would be normal, but generally you had oversupply. And you had all your rations, all your ammunition, and all your incidental supplies had to come in with those 6 Jeeps. Of course, your regimental commander had to have one of them. You can't let regimental commander go without a Jeep. And then, of course, that goddamn snow and the Battle of Bulge, we couldn't where you couldn't get. See, they had a pan bottom in them, Jeep. Well, you get them up on a little hump, you had all 4 wheels off the ground. You didn't go anywhere. We had to get her wounded out, get supplies back in, and keep them moving.
Were you a radio guy throughout the battle then?
Well, no, because the meantime, that little space of time we were there at Sisson before we went into Battle. I'd taken some schooling and learned a little more about it. And I was still a radio man, but they needed a telephone man. So that's when I got my sergeant rating. And then I had to run the radio, have a radio operator, and then I carried the telephone with a mile of wire, a little roll like that, about that long, and it's just fine as hell. As long as somebody don't step on it and turn their foot.
Yeah.
That radio telephone's out, Bridge.
So you'd have to go trace the
You
wire
have
and
to
then.
run that wire through your hand till you find where it's broke.
Yeah.
And if you didn't find it in a while, well, you stop and cut it, and then hooked onto it one way or the other, see which way was open and which way was closed. So you done that 3 or 4 times maybe before you found the break.
All the time you're exposed.
Well, it's nighttime generally when you're doing that, and I was having more trouble with the Jeeps and tanks. There wasn't enough fences to hang it on, and you had to drop it. Well, one of them would run over it, or GI'd hook his toe in it and jerk it, and of course that damn soft insulation, it'd ground it off.